Welcome. It's your girl Mint, and today we are going to go through some books you guys can read. As if you can't tell by this pile of books sitting next to me, you want to know what books I've read or what books I recommend for starting your path on witchcraft, Wicca, or magic in general. So I'm going to give you some suggestions. These are obviously not going to be all the books that you can read to start your path. There are hundreds of thousands of books on loads of different subjects. I recommend reading any book that you are interested in. Whenever someone asks me, hey, I want to get into witchcraft, I want to get into Wicca or magic, what books do I read? Or what blogs do I follow? Or blah, blah, blah. People want references. And I always say, what's the most exciting thing about it to you? What are you most interested in? If you're more interested in just doing spells, then get yourself a spell book. If you're more interested in the spirituality of magic and witchcraft, then get yourself a book on the craft as a whole. If you're interested in gods and goddesses, then get a book on gods and goddesses. So I'm just going to give you a couple of suggestions of books that I like, and we're going to start with some books on Wicca, and we're going to start with the number one book that I recommend and that loads of witches recommend to everybody. I'm so sorry. Loads of witches recommend to everybody else, and that is Cunningham's Wicca, a guide for the solitary practitioner. This is a great book to start out with in any magic subject, I feel like, because it gives you a lot of information about Wicca, it gives you the structure for Wicca, it gives you information about the Wheel of the Year, and just basically how to live your life and how to start living your life with Wicca and being Wiccan. Cunningham also wrote Wicca. What's it called? Living Wicca. Living Wicca is kind of like the follow-up to Wicca. It is like a second part to the other book. So after you read one, go ahead and read the other one, and then after that you can branch off into what part of Wicca you're most interested in. Those two books are very structured. It'll give you most of the information you need to start your practice right away. I think with the first one, it gives you some exercises to try as well, which is really great. I love when books on magic give you exercises to try right in the book. Okay, now I'm going to also show you some books that I have on Wicca that I've just kept. I usually try to keep most of my books. I have lent out a great deal of them and I have never seen them again, and so I do have to go ahead and order some more of my favorite books, but I have some that are super old. I have this illustrated guide to Wicca. This is what it looks like. It's gorgeous. As you can see, it is quite dated, but I really like having these classics like this. It gives you some really great information about the phases of the moon. It gives you some really great information about Greek goddesses and gods. It also gives you some information about the elements. It goes into magic tools and such. It has some really great illustrations, some really nice like demo pics by real people, you know, a couple of rituals. It goes through the sabbats. It has a lot of really great information in here, even though, you know, it's from like 1972 or something. Probably in the 90s, actually. It's not, I don't think it's settled. But it's a really great book. I like it a lot because it has a lot of pictures for people who learn visually a lot better, and I just I do recommend this for people who are starting out who need a little bit of visual with their learning. I do like this one. Like I said, it is dated, so don't just bank on this one for all of your information. This is another one I love, Wicca, A Year and a Day. It gives you 366 days of spiritual practice. So in here, it has obviously the days of the year in here, and every day it gives you a little bit of information, a couple of tips and tricks, and it does give you some spell work to do in here as well for every day of the year. So it's really wonderful because you can go through each day and have your little book of shadows out and take notes in your book of shadows, and that can be sort of like a journal entry for the day. Really wonderful with helping you to keep magic in your life every day and to kind of be focused on your practice and on your path. Bam, the Wicca Bible. This is another one that is quite dated. It is old, but it has a lot of great information in here. Any of these like little squat Bible books are so great for quick reference, and they're really great for people who like I said before, people who like to learn with a couple of pictures. Gives you information on the elements, gives you information on the sabbats and the esbats again. It talks about altars, sacred spaces. It's nice and small, so you can carry it with you, or you can hide it if you need to hide it. It also has a little bit of herbal information in the back, which I think is really great. So this one is basically like an all-in-one book. It's in this small little package. I really do recommend this one. Another book that I do recommend is Wicca by Harmony Nice. If you follow her on Instagram, she is a wonderful witch and she has a great YouTube channel, which I do recommend watching. She talks about a lot of wonderful things according to Magick, and she talks about one of my favorite subjects, conspiracy theories. She has lots of wonderful information. And like I said, she wrote a book on Wicca. It is a basic beginner's book, but it is beautifully written and the information is very easy to sorry y'all. Okay, so let me just tell you, let me just 1 second.
I was looking for a book I wanted to show you guys called Fairy Wicca, and I love that book. I was super excited to show you, and I can't find it anywhere in my house, and I'm bummed about it because it's one of those books that, you know, it's not sold anymore. You can only buy it used now. It's out of print. So I'm freaking out because I don't know if it ever made it to the house when we moved or if it's in here somewhere. And I want to order another one like ASAP because I don't want it to be gone. I'm going busy next week, so I need to have all my money. And so I'm like, do I order this book because I'm afraid I'm going to have it, or is it in my house somewhere? I don't know, and I hate that.
Anyway, so it's like messing with my brain a little bit because I'm like, where is this book? But anyway, Wicca by Harmony Nice. Go ahead and pick up a copy of that. And then, like I said, there are loads and loads of different books on Wicca that break down each type of Wicca that you can practice. There are many types of Wicca that you can practice, so I would suggest go ahead and using good old Google and just looking for something specific that you are interested in when it comes to Wicca. So I did study Fairy Wicca for a while, and I don't know where the book is. I do have the second one, however, so I'll show you the second one. Here she is. So here's what the book looks like here. Fairy Wicca Book 2, because Book 1 is missing. I don't know where it is. I gotta find it, because if I don't, I'm gonna be so upset. I'm gonna have to order another one because I need it. Written by Kisma K. Stepanek. It does have a great information about Wicca as well, how you can incorporate fairies into your practice. It talks about ancient herbs of fairy shamanism, which is just incredibly interesting. It does also have some a little bit of spell work in here as well. It also gives you information on how to see fairies if that's something that you're interested in. Talks about energetic bodies. It's a really good book. It's a really great reference book. It is another older book. A lot of the books I have are older because I really like having these for reference, because I think it's important to read what started these religions and what started these practices, and then read the modern stuff as well. I'm actually really bad at reading modern books about magic. I'm always reading the older ones, but I gotta find book 1. Book 2 is great. So if you're into fairies, if you're into elementals and the spirits of nature, I would give Fairy Wicca a try just to see if maybe you're interested in it. It's not like Tinkerbell fairies. It's not like, you know, fairy dust butts and whatever Peter Pan. But if you're interested in learning more about Fairy Wicca, then I would suggest these books because they are great and I love them. And I gotta find the other one. Okay, so enough with Wicca. We've covered a couple of books. Like I said, Cunningham's Wicca, the first one, get on that book. Living Wicca, after that, go ahead. After you've read those 2 books, I'm saying go out into the world of Wicca. Another book that I highly recommend is Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. The book is great. It is a book that you'll just have all of the time if you're someone who will be using herbs in your magic, which I do recommend because, I mean, I'm going to recommend it anyway because I love herbs. I'm using them all the time. Who says that? Who talks like that? I love herbs though, and I use them in almost all of my magic, not just in teas, not just in candle dressing, but in a lot of other things that are wonderful to have and they're wonderful to know about. This book teaches you a bit of the folklore of where these herbs come from, their origins, people that use them, and then it gives you each herb. It tells you whether it's masculine or feminine, usually based on folklore. So the planet that it's ruled by, and this has to do with when it grows and how it grows, things of that nature. The element that it's associated with, the deities that it's associated with. It tells you what it can do, and it gives you magical uses. So it tells you how to use these herbs. This is such a great book. I really recommend it to everybody, no matter what path you're taking. If you're taking the religious path and you're going with Wicca, or if you're just going to be an eclectic witch, or if you're going to be an eclectic whatever you want, this book is really wonderful because it gives you so much information on herbs, like so much. And I think in the back it also gives you associations for the herbs. So you know how a lot of herbs have like a regular name, they have like a scientific name, and then they have like a folklore name. So Masterwort is also Angelica, you know what I mean? Orange is known as the love fruit. Lemon balm is known as Melissa also. So if you're looking for something and you're like, lion's tooth, what is lion's tooth? It's just a dandelion, honey. It's all right. I highly recommend this one. And I also recommend reading more than one book on herbs as well, coming from a different perspective. Cunningham's perspective is wonderful. This is a great book. I probably use this one the most. I also use Papa Jim's book a great deal. And I also use my Ellen Dugan books a lot too. Ellen Dugan is wonderful. She has a great way of talking about herbs as well. So I recommend those 3 authors for herbs, especially this one. So let's get right into witchcraft here with the Witch's Bible. People get so mad that it's called the Witch's Bible, but it's a really great handbook. It's like what you'll use all the time when you're starting out in your path. This one is written by Janet and Stuart Farrar. They have a wonderful amount of books that they have written. I recommend, if you like this book a lot, to read more books by them because they are really great and informative. This book is a big chunk as well. I'm glad we opened up to the naked page. It does have some great pictures in here. It shows you a bit of rituals. It also gives you great information about sabbats and esbats. It gives you information about healing spells, writing spells, symbols and signs, rituals. It gives you information about it's just like a great handbook for starting out learning magic. It talks about tools, it talks about goddess rituals, it talks about so much. This is another one of those books where get this book, you already have a great deal of information right here. This is a wonderful book to start out with. You can fill like half of your Book of Shadows just with information that you've gotten from this book, and then any exercises that you do with it, you can write it in your Book of Shadows as well. This is just a really good reference book for starting witchcraft in general. Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft. This is another book that's a really great reference. It has a lot of information. It has information about dream work. It has more rituals in here. It has lots of things on meditation. What I love is that it gives you pages to write things in here, which is awesome. It talks about having a coven. It talks about building a circle. It's a really great book. Like 2 of these books like this and you're like, oh, Complete Book of Witchcraft or The Witch's Bible, which one should I get? I do like A Witch's Bible a little bit better than Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft. I think I just like their writing style better, but that is up to you. Some people just absolutely adore Buckland, but I do have them both because, like I said, I like to reference several things. It also has herbs in this book as well, yeah. So this is also a really good one. I do recommend it. I also recommend reading books on herbalism as a whole, talking about healing with herbs. I think it's really important. Along with learning about the magical properties of herbs, I think it's important to learn the healing properties of herbs as well, especially for someone who's going to be working as a healer, helping other people to be more whole energetically. And I think that having this information in your repertoire is really important. This book is great. It talks about trees, it talks about fruits, it talks about plants, it talks about herbs, it even talks about a lot of seeds. It talks about lots of things that you eat every day that can help you to heal. So I do recommend this as well, by Michael Castleman, The Healing Herbs. Also, it's a very lovely book. I do really enjoy reading this book. The Witch's Magical Handbook, written by the Frosts. Now, the Frosts are another set of authors I really enjoy reading. This book is really wonderful when it comes to teaching you about self-care, how to take care of yourself when you're someone who practices magic, because it is very depleting on you to practice magic for yourself and for other people. And so there is a really good amount of things that you can do to help to heal yourself and to build up your personal power. It's super duper great book. It has some really awesome recipes in here as well that I really love. It has some really good crystal associations as well. So I do recommend this book if you're someone who wants to learn how to take care of yourself when you're doing magic, and also how to help to heal other people. And if you're interested in healing crystals and healing herbs, I recommend this one as well. So this one, Sea Magic, is very good by Sandra Kynes. If you are someone who's interested in learning about the magic of different elements, I would recommend getting a book on each of those elements. I'm not really a mermaid person, but I did get this book because I was interested in what kind of information it can give me, and it's great. I do work a lot with water magic because I'm an extremely emotional person and I cry a lot. So this book is really great to give you references on a lot of things that you can use from the sea, how to use seashells and magic. It talks about how the moon affects the water, and it talks about how the moon affects people and tides. It talks a great deal about sea creatures and how you can work with them, about what they represent. It talks about gods and goddesses of the sea. It's a very good book if you're someone who is into the ocean and ocean magic, sea magic, anything that has to do with great bodies of water. This is a great book to read. A Charmed Life. A Charmed Life is another Wicked by Day book by Patricia Telesco. Patricia Telesco is another author that has written a lot of really great books, so I do recommend them as well. This is a great book also for helping you with self-care, understanding yourself, understanding your magical flow. Something that I love about this book is that it gives you, here we go, this activity of listening to yourself. It gives you a great deal of activities to try in this book, which I really love. It gives you this little exercise here to do, which helps to condition your body to sense other people's emotions and other people's intentions by how what they say makes you feel. It's a really great book. It has some really fun activities and some really great little DIY things that you can do as well. Those are all the books I'm going to talk about today. Like I said, there are hundreds of thousands of more books that I can talk to you about. I even still have more in my pile over here, but I don't want to make the video too long. The 4 books that I recommend the most are Cunningham's Wicca, A Witch's Magical Handbook, A Witch's Bible, and the Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. Those 4 books will get you started, will get your foot in the door, they'll get your Book of Shadows filled really quickly. If you're interested in crystals, I also recommend the Crystal Bible. There are loads of other beginner crystal books as well. I'll pop some in here. Ding, ding. Excuse me. Once you get your first book, your mind will be so open to different possibilities. Be like, okay, now I like to learn about meditating Tai Chi. You know, there's so many different things that you can use in your practice. But I just want to give you a couple of things that I started with that I really love and that I still go back to every once in a while, just for a quick reference. So I hope that this helps. I will do a second set of books. I will also do another video on Instagram witches and some YouTube witches that I like. I don't watch that many witches on YouTube, but I do have a load of witches on Instagram that I follow their pages every day. So I will also make a video about them. Let me know what book you started with in the comment section below. I would love to hear what books you guys are reading. Have every lovely day. I have to pee. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.